Every piece of advice aimed at women in leadership eventually comes back to the same thing. Be more confident. Speak up more. Work on your executive presence. And if you've tried all of that and you're still not where you should be, the problem was never your confidence. The problem is what you've been navigating. I'm Dr. Denée Choice, and I work with high-achieving women leading in complex, high-stakes environments, women already operating at an executive level who feel like they've outgrown the roles they're in and are ready for something bigger. In my last video, I described the recognition gap and the 3 ways it shows up for women who are already leading at a high level. Now we're going to look at why that pattern exists, and it's not the reason most people think. If you want to go deeper into this work, I have a free masterclass called How Women Leaders Rise. It's a deeper look at the leadership dynamics that shape how women advance and what it actually takes to lead at the next level. The link is in the description. Researchers Amy Deal and Leanne Zubinski spent years studying women in leadership across industries. Their finding? Women are not held back because they lack confidence, ambition, skill, or executive presence. They're held back because workplace systems, cultures, and power structures were built around men's experiences and never redesigned to account for women. Decades of women in leadership, and the system is still running the original code. One of the most important concepts in their research is what they call acquiescence. It's what happens when the accumulated weight of navigating a system that wasn't built for you causes you to internalize the limits being placed on you. You start self-silencing, deflecting, lowering your expectations, and eventually, you start wondering if you're the problem. You're not. You're adapting, and there's a difference. So I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever been told you need more confidence or more executive presence, and it felt like that feedback wasn't really getting at the real problem? Let me know in the comments. Yes, no, or it's complicated. So the myth we're talking about does its most damage here. When women believe the gap is a confidence problem, they go looking for confidence solutions. They work on their communication, they practice speaking up, they invest in personal development, and maybe it helps them. Until the next high-stakes moment arrives, and we'll talk about that in the next video. For now, what matters is this. You cannot solve a structural problem with a personal development strategy. The diagnosis has to be right before the fix can work. Here's what's actually happening in that moment. She walks into a room and has to prove what her male peer is simply assumed to have. So she over-prepares, she overqualifies, she over-explains, and then reads all of that as a confidence problem. It isn't. That's a gender-based credibility deficit, and it was there before she opened her mouth. And the impact compounds throughout her career. Men get promoted on potential. Women get promoted only on proof, results, delivered repeatedly over time. Same organization, different people, different rules. And here's what that means practically. The energy you've been spending trying to show up differently, more confidently, more visibly, more strategically, that energy hasn't been wasted, but it's been aimed at the surface. What sits underneath it is something most leadership development never touches. And that's exactly what the next video is about, including one thing you've probably been avoiding that has nothing to do with self-promotion, even though it feels exactly like it does. If this is resonating, my How Women Leaders Rise Masterclass is where we go further. We go further into what's actually driving the gap and what you can start doing about it today. It's free, and the link is in the description. In the next video, we're going to talk about the solutions most women reach for first and why they keep falling short no matter how hard you work at them. We'll see you there.